to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We are brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game. A reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and please rate and review our show. I'm your host, William Liu, and I am joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong, and also Sportsnet's new Raptors sideline reporter, Savanna Hamilton. What's going on, people?
What's up?
Okay.
Opening night. You excited?
Very excited.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm excited.
We're gonna get the warm-up report from what happened at shoot-around.
Oh, that's right.
Right, but we have more important topics to get to, and the specific instructions from you 30 seconds before the show started was that you're supposed to be the one that's gonna quarterback this. So just go ahead, Alex. Go ahead, take over the point guard reins.
Yeah, we got Matt Devlin joining us in the second segment. So thrilled to have Savanna in studio with us. We haven't even heard from Savanna yet. Savanna, what's up?
Yo, I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here. We're having a new season ahead of us. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fun breaking down with you guys.
Sportsnet teammates now?
Yeah.
I mean, we were always teammates before this, but
Well, she always reminds me. She's like, we're just friends, right?
oh, okay, all right.
This is what Will says to me too
Really?
a lot.
There you
Whenever
go.
I try to talk like business with him, I'm like, we're just friends, right? As well.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Like, outside of
What are we
work,
supposed
we're
to be?
friends.
You know-
Yeah.
You know, there's this game I've been playing recently when you put two friends, like when you have two friends together, right?
Yeah.
And you both think of a number out of 10
Yeah.
of like, where do you rank the friendship out of 10? And then you both say the number at the same time with the other person. We're not going to do this on air right now. I might do that with you on Friday.
Oh, no. I was like, can we?
Gamble, aren't we?
1, 2, 3.
Anyways, yes, we were going to talk about opening night, of course, get excited for the season. But, all three of us had a privilege of attending Nick Nurse Foundation event on Monday featuring just a wonderful set list, New Power Generation, CK, Francesco Yates. I was surprised you knew a lot of the tunes there from like CK and some of these other artists.
I mean,
Yeah.
CK's huge, man. I feel like the Raptors are getting down to CK more than any other
I'm
artist.
just very
so
narrow
I'm not gonna lie
minded
to
when
you.
it comes to music.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but like, if you saw them, dancing, they were dancing more to CK than they were to Neo.
Yes, I did notice a few players were very stoic
Yeah.
during Neo.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it
Well,
at
I
that.
guess we weren't stoic though.
No. I
Oh,
was-
no. So Neo was the headliner.
Yeah.
Yes.
And happy birthday to Neo as well. It was actually his birthday on Tuesday.
Wow,
Libra
great
season.
research.
Yeah, shouts to all the Libras.
Woo!
And I mean, man, just a wonderful event. Obviously, there was a lot of, there was an auction. There's some great items that were auctioned off. It was great seeing a lot of the players there to support,
Yeah.
coaching staff as well. Bobby Webster in a Paisley shirt. Tried to ask him what brand it was, but he knows I bring everything on air, so he's
Yeah.
like, I can't tell you.
I think
so.
that's the way to establish strong relationships with GMs is if you leak every single conversation you ever have with them.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be very close to you and have a lot of conversations with you. This is just a good approach.
Yeah, Bobby, hit me up, man. Let's try to grab lunch or something off the
Yeah.
record,
Asian muff.
of course. But Savannah, man,
That'll
we'll
work.
start with you. I know you were front and center as well with us, at the quote unquote Neo concert
Yeah.
to close the evening. What were your thoughts on the event?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, I was not playing it cool whatsoever. I tried for like a half second, and I'm like, nah, like middle school Sav is coming out right now. He started off the night with like Miss Independent. I'm like, he started strong. That's my favorite song. I'm like, I thought that was gonna be like the closing song.
Nah, he wasn't playing games. No.
He came out with like the songs that he wrote.
So Sick, Because of You.
Yeah.
And then he went into Mario, Let
Yeah.
Me Love You. He did a couple Beyonce songs.
Because he wrote those ones, is
Yeah.
what he was saying. He's like, yo, I wrote to the Irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, you did not write that.
I
but
wasn't familiar with his game.
me
I
neither.
really wasn't familiar with
You
his
guys
game
are
like
talking
that.
about
I didn't
Neo
know
like
he
he's
was a
Christian
player
Wood.
and a coach. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know who Neo is? Neo's Jimmy Butler, man.
Oh, facts.
Like, you put up
Why?
the stats, he's pure clutch, man. Like, he can put his stats up with anybody in his generation.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you, Will?
I had a great time. I mean, I filmed like most of the concert because
Yeah.
I felt like it was important for me to share that with other people. And when I was listening back to the recording, I realized that my voice had gone like just completely shot. And so I kind of sounded like DMX singing Let Me Love You.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. We might play.
just don't get it.
Yeah,
it,
we
was
might-
tough. It was tough.
We might play that on Friday.
You know-
Stay tuned.
It's funny because I do the same thing, right? We record our concerts, the ones that we're thrilled to go
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
and
of
Yeah.
course, of course.
and we think that we're gonna play it back to our friends and family until we realize that nobody wants to watch a concert on your phone
They
and
can
listen
just
to
they
you.
can just go on Spotify,
YouTube
go
or
on
something.
Apple, whatever
Just listen
they
to the
want.
real thing without your backup vocals in it.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
That's fair.
adding the not so harmony.
Yeah,
verses.
but those videos for ourselves. I went home, I was laying in bed just going through all the
Me
videos.
too. CK made eye contact with my video.
And then downloaded a couple Neo
It's like, yeah, but this is
playlists.
what we're talking about.
And then started debating with people like
yeah.
Will Lou in the DMs. I'm like, yo, if Neo did a versus with Usher, I think Neo's coming out the winner.
No, come on, man.
I think Neo's
Gotta
coming
put some
out the
respect
winner.
on
Yo.
Savannah.
Usher's
Okay.
a different level.
Nah, it's a Neo thing still.
What?
It's a Neo thing
Mm,
still.
what?
Yeah, I was thinking
Wow.
about this. I'm like, do I have a recency bias? Would I have said this if I just didn't go to a Neo concert? I'm like, nah, honestly. Like, don't get me wrong. Usher has My Boo. He has OMG. He has In the Club. I used to play In the Club all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Bro, that's one of his
Confessions,
classics,
like
bro.
there's
Confessions
So
he's
many.
like pure
Confessions
bangers.
is one
So
of the best
many.
albums of all time.
Yes.
All
many.
time, man.
But I'm
But-
just saying,
Superstar.
Neo is very slept on.
Yeah.
All the
and
songs
now
where he
knowing,
replaces you with the letter U.
knowing
Yep.
that, see, that's
Like
what you
8
know
of
is
those.
real.
Yeah.
But now knowing that Neo wrote all those songs too, I'm like, okay, he just put himself in a different category. He's like a Bruno
Well,
Mars
this-
category.
This is the thing though. This is like counting Steve Kerr's championships as a coach and a player.
It is.
Why not?
That's great.
Why not,
That
though?
doesn't make him the best
Talent.
basketball person of all time. No.
Do you not count all of Nick Nurse's British Basketball League successes when you talk about his resume?
I do when I talk to him
Hired for a
face to
reason.
face, but now that he's not here, I would say no.
That's the ghost. That's the ghostwriting. You know, right there. You know, you got to
Okay.
put in work overseas.
Exactly.
You got to put in work in the NBA and the G League.
I would say the ghostwriting was that Dwayne Casey coach of the year, actually.
Ooh, okay.
Huh.
Let's just stick to music. So
I mean, a lot of that was Nick.
yeah, so no, I think two out of three of us are in agreement that Neo is the most underrated
Yeah,
artist
make a poll in the chat
of
or
our
something.
generation.
No. It's
Yeah.
Usher, man. Usher is undefeated.
Yeah.
Also better dancer. That's
Well-
not even debatable.
Neo had some moves. Neo had some moves.
Neil had some moves too, but
Yeah.
But
Neo had
I
some
think
moves.
it would have to overall agree with that. Usher probably is the better dancer.
Anyways, you know, the whole point of this actually is, you know, shouts to the Nick Nurse Foundation.
Absolutely.
Another wonderful event. Everybody should go to nicknursefoundation.org. And if you want to donate to the different causes that he has, there's a donate button at the top. So everybody should check that out. And 3 stars.
Yep.
You know, Will likes to do his 3 stars post game. You know, 3 stars for me. Number 1 was
from the
definitely
concert.
Neo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Number 2 was the short ribs. You know, the catering was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
In the building. And number 3, shouts to our guy Tim Chung. Yeah.
That's
so-
a Tim Chung, man.
Hey.
yeah. Gerald Henderson Award CK.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that.
Yeah. So that's
It's
it.
opening night.
Oh, right.
Oh, by the way, the Raptors all had a great time there. It was
Opening
really
night.
cute, man. It was really cute seeing everyone there.
Toronto Raptors. Savannah Hamilton was at shoot around today. So the report yesterday, Ken Burch is out for the opener. He's got swelling in his non-surgically repaired knee. Chris Boucher still questionable, Savannah?
Yep.
Okay, so Chris Boucher questionable. Malachi Flynn is in. The Raptors exercise the 4th-year option
Yes, they did.
on his contract
Yep.
today.
Yeah.
I believe they did all the housekeeping, right?
Yep.
Like on Scotty,
Scotty.
Precious as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
any surprises there, Will?
No, not that big of a surprise. I think Malachi hasn't played enough necessarily to think that he was like a super lock to have the 4th-year option picked up. But it was one of those things where, like, you know, to be blunt about it, the price was right. Like to get a contract for like $3 million on your books for a player who you know that if Fred was out and another point guard was out and you need a Malachi to come in there and give you 25 minutes of steady play against like an Orlando or Detroit, he could probably do that for you. Like that's decent. And of course, like, yeah, if you see a little bit more potential there long term, you kind of keep it around. But I mean, look, listen, you just don't want to be in a scenario where you don't pick up a very, very affordable option and then that player breaks out. Then you look really silly. So,
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Come on. Malachi's been working hard. He's been, you know, putting in a lot of work. We'll see if that translates necessarily to encore production this following season. I think stylistically, his size doesn't necessarily fit the team, but yeah, I mean,
Oh.
again, it's like $3 million.
You heard what Fred said this morning?
Yeah, what was the quote?
Oh, it was great. So, like, one of the reporters in the room was just asking Fred, oh, you know, like, how do you fit in or how do you feel next to your teammates that are all like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9"? And he was like, yeah, I feel like the ugly step kid. Like, he's like, I'm 6'9" in my heart, though. Which I was like, you know what? We love the honesty. We love the honesty.
That's what Masai said too at the end of your presser last year, because there was a lot of questions about how, like, oh, how does Fred fit into like your roster construction plan? And he's like, Fred is 6'9", like here, like he like pointed to his heart and stuff, and then he said, we're here to win. Yeah. So
You guys are describing him like he's Stuart Little or something.
No, I have a meme in my head right now.
No, man, Fred's my short king, man. Shouts to
Listen.
Joseph
Come on,
Pasharo
man.
as
By the
well,
way,
though.
By the official measurements were put out by the NBA this year,
Yeah.
and these are measurements in socks, which is so funny to me that they
Measurements in socks.
Yeah, they specifically said these are people wearing socks and their measurements, and Fred was actually confirmed to be 6 foot.
Okay.
So all the photographed evidence of me standing beside him and being substantially taller than him
Interesting.
is not apparently proof. I
No,
don't
he
know.
was on the 3 pairs of that Uniqlo wool socks, man.
What socks are we talking about here?
He's wearing a Christmas stocking.
No, he tripled up.
Go facts.
Like it's cold in there.
Oh man, no. But speaking of Malachi too, though, Savanna. I know when we talked last week, had you on the podcast.
Yeah.
We talked. You talked really highly of Delano,
Yep.
Banton, and I know. I think in general, people just watching the preseason have been really high on Delano. Like,
Yep.
look, what role do you see Delano playing like this year for this team?
I don't know. This is the part where you're trying to get me to say backup point guard.
That's right.
It's a
Leading
battle
question.
between Malachi, a little bit for the seniority reasons, of course, because he was drafted before Delano and he's put in so much work in the offseason, and he's kind of cut from a similar mold as Fred VanVleet. He's not the tallest point guard. He's maybe has that 6'9" heart, but not exactly stacking up the socks either. But then you see Delano, who is 6'9", who has so much more confidence just going into the season, and it's just really hard to deny that. I think, like, no offense to Malachi, like he brings a different element to the game. He has a great pick and roll, like scenarios. He reads that really well. But if you look at Delano, the way he plays, like he stops, he starts, he changes direction, but he also finds the passing lanes and like seamlessly like delivers the ball as if he is like a shorter point guard. But then you're like, wait a minute, this kid's 6'9", and he's still young. I don't know his exact age range off the top of my head, but like he's just like, there's one play, I think it was against the Celtics, I want to say, like the first game against the Celtics in the preseason, where he was coming down the floor and it looked like he was so lackadaisical with the ball. Like he was just coming down the lane. And then next, he turns it to a gear out of the blue and dunks it. Like immediately slams it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, so you see like clips and highlights like that, and you think like, okay, this guy has a ton of potential and he has the stature that we haven't really seen in a point guard mold in a long time.
Yeah, well, what I want to ask with that is like in preseason, I thought there's that last game against Boston, which obviously both games against Boston went overtime, so both games were close, right? Last minute of that game, I know it's preseason, but it's like people are competing pretty hard in the last preseason game, and it's very tight. Delano, in about a 2-minute stretch, hit like 2 crossovers into pull-up jumpers, and they look very smooth, they look very effortless. And you having seen him up close at the 905 level repeatedly, is that something that he's shown at that level, and is that something you think can translate? Because to me, it's like if he has a counter, because obviously everyone's going to try to play him to drive. If he has a counter for that little quick crossover into like a mid-range jumper, especially when guys are sagging back off of him, that's an open shot for him that he can get to a lot. And if he can hit that consistently, then that's where you think about like those Sean Livingston sort of comparisons that people put on him originally. Because Sean had a great mid-range pull-up, right, as a counter. So
I was going to say, are you thinking more like in a three-point sense or like in a mid-range? Like you want him to be consistent in the mid-range?
I think pull-up three-point shooting is not something that's going to be in his arsenal
I don't think so either.
or even long-term. But
I would say Malachi might be the better shooter of the two of them.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But I think, like, for him, I mean, if he's going to score a little bit and go to the basket, he's got to have that little crossover mid-range pull-up at least. And I thought I saw a little bit of that in preseason, so I'm trying to ask.
I was going to say, I think he has that actually already in his arsenal. I just don't think we see it a whole lot. I think because like when he's with the big club, like he's more of a facilitator. He doesn't need to be the primary scorer.
Sure.
But I agree with you. If depends on which level do we want to see Delano go to, right? Is he going to be like, hey, down the road in the conversation of, maybe most improved, or in the future, like I said, he has all the tools to potentially be maybe someday an all-star even. Like I'm talking down the road though, not this season, guys. It's not a hot take.
Yeah.
Clip
but like
that. Clip that
right now, run it back. No. But it's for now the role that he's in. He has way too many offensive options for him to be the first one. Yeah. So yes, it would be nice to have a counter. Of course, you always want to be a scoring threat, but at the same time, he doesn't need one because him getting to the rim, well, you're not going to leave him open. So of course you're going to collapse on him. And then when you collapse on him, open kick out to somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. I'm excited. Delano was definitely like the highlight of preseason for me.
Yeah, for me as well.
You watched one game.
So, anyways, there's a wonderful, the real games are finally starting this week. Great matchup between the Sixers and Celtics yesterday. Nice to see, James Harden cross up Marcus Smart and then shimmy his way into an air ball.
Yes.
The Sixers are like how my dad felt about me growing up. Like every year, he's like, "This year you won't be a disappointment. Like, this year you're gonna put it all together. You're gonna go to the
well.
yeah. Oh damn, hot take.
Damn.
Hot take.
Honestly,
but yes,
by the way,
it's just
Joel
one game.
last night.
Okay?
I mean, I know he put up 30, I think, or close to, but
Yeah.
a lot of turnovers, a lot of falling over, a lot of trying to break Marcus Smart's arm. And yeah, I don't know. I just love rooting for players on their downfall when they try to break people's arms.
Oh my god.
In opening night, off a
I
rebound.
shouldn't have mentioned the Sixers.
I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't think any Raptor fan
And
likes
then
them.
the Golden State Warriors beat the Adelaide 36ers.
Oh,
AKA the
come
LA
on,
Lakers.
man. Come on,
Right?
man.
You know what? We should put a ban on doing season prediction coverage until we've had a chance to see each team play one regular season game.
Yes, I totally agree with this.
I was watching the Lakers yesterday and I'm like, oh my God, like all respects to LeBron, especially everything he's done to this city. But like, I'm like, damn, this team could be like 20-62. I don't think they will be, but like, and they were playing the Warriors fair, but I'm looking at that roster, Savanna, and I'm like, what's the path for them to being good?
For the Sixers, for the LA Lakers, like which team?
The Lakers.
The Lakers?
Yeah, like there's just like,
Youth?
there's nothing on that roster.
A fountain of youth? That would help.
Yeah.
That would be the first step.
Man.
I mean, I just feel for LeBron at this point. Like, I mean, what was his stat? Like, he had 30 points as well, and like 30-something minutes.
Yeah, I think he had like 31, 14, and 8 or something.
Yeah, like
actually.
he's gonna have an MVP.
Impactful 30. That's an impactful 30
Listen,
right there.
LeBron's gonna have an MVP stat line again, and they're gonna be barely scratching the top 3 again. Like, they're not. It's just unfortunate until Bronny is in the league where LeBron can actually play with him and get that chip off his shoulder. He's gonna continue to play. It's still like a relatively high level, but he doesn't have the teammates to support as much as he did, back in his prime, like Heat days, yo.
Yeah. Well, speaking to that, did you watch number 37 on the Lakers yesterday? You know who? Do you know? I'll give you $5 right now if you know who wears number 37 for the Lakers.
Matt Ryan.
Okay, I owe you $5. All right,
Oh
I got you.
my God.
So Matt Ryan,
2 hot dogs at the arena tonight.
they're free in the media room. You know that. We back, baby.
I'm the lethal weapon. I do not
The
finish
hot dogs are
second.
great.
I forgot about that one.
They're so
Anyway.
great.
Matt Ryan,
Rendejo?
not the quarterback
Yeah.
who used to play for Atlanta. I
For the
think.
Atlanta, yeah.
He's-
For the Atlanta Falcons.
For the Atlanta.
For the
okay.
Atlantis.
This is the Raptors show, not an NFL show or any other sports show.
Yes.
The story about him, he's one of the coolest stories in the league. He really grinded his way to the league, and at one point was a food delivery driver.
Yes, I remember this.
And I was like, this is an awesome story.
Yeah.
And then I was watching the game last night, and LeBron was driving and kicking and hitting it out to the Uber Eats driver, and he was missing. And then he was
Oh,
also
man.
being targeted by Steph Curry like over and over and over again
Yeah.
on defense. And I was thinking, this can't be the way LeBron's career ends.
It won't be.
Matt Ryan's got your order.
Whenever
He's on the way. Like, that can't be it, man.
whenever
All due
LeBron's
respect to food delivery
whenever
drivers, very
LeBron's
essential
been
workers.
whenever
but
LeBron's been in an adverse situation,
this is adverse.
this is not versus Toronto in the conference finals.
I don't know, man. LeBron ordered the roster off his phone.
I was just
Anyways,
gonna
couple of more.
put the Uber Eats order in now, right
Oh,
now.
damn.
Matt's
All right.
gonna be here.
That's gonna
Oh,
show
man.
up. No.
Our Raptors.
tough.
So you guys, there was this wonderful Raptors roundtable you can read on sportsnet.ca with Will Liu, Savanna Hamilton, Michael Grange, Steve Wong, and Blake Murphy. So wanted to run through a couple of these
Yeah, let's do it.
with you guys. So
Absolutely.
Pascal has said that he wants to be a top 5 player. He came out and said it on media day. What steps does he have to take to get closer to that goal, Savanna?
Oh, what did I write again? No,
I could just read these.
I know. I wrote this like yesterday. But top 5 player is very ambitious. I'll say that first and foremost. So kudos to him for having that goal. I think he's like all-star. So let's be a top 5 player in the league instead. All-star's not good enough apparently. So I mean, I appreciate the fact that he's taking that on. If I was to look at his game, I think the biggest thing that he has to just be at this point is consistent. It's consistent, continue to find creative ways to get to the rim, make plays. And what would really throw his game like over the top, and I don't know if this is going to be a true factor in his arsenal this season. This is kind of a bit of a teller, but can he have a bit of a 3-point shot? Like, can he add more of a 3-point threat to his game, because then when he starts dropping more consistently 25s, 30s, even having maybe the odd 40-point night, okay, you are in the conversation. Let's see like 3 of those games straight. Then we'll talk.
I mean, just if a player averaged like 26 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists on a 55-win team, would you call him a top 5 player?
Yeah, are you gonna tell me this was Pascal's numbers?
No,
like,
no.
After Jan 1st?
No, it's not. I mean, I'm just saying, like, would you consider that a
of
top
course.
5 player? Yeah, like, well, he'll be in the consideration. The thing is, top 5 is like it's very difficult because you could be like Steph,
Yeah.
LeBron,
KD.
Giannis, KD, Kawhi,
Joel, Jokic.
yeah, Luka. Like, you know,
You could go 15. Probably go 15 players.
The players
Yeah.
are really
on that.
good, but the thing is, like, to me, like that's his sort of path. Is like, can you just add a few more points to his game? Because actually has the other aspects down. I think he plays the defensive end really strong. He's obviously able to set up his teammates. Probably could do that even a little bit more. Just depends on how much he has the ball, which I think he's going to have it a lot this season. But it's like, can he add, like what David Thorpe said on the show yesterday, can he add like 2 or 3 more points just on free throws alone? Because he plays a lot in the paint. Can he draw some more fouls, right?
Yeah.
Get a little bit more efficient on that end. He was already shooting 50% from the field last year, which is pretty good. But, you know, as Savanna said, you added 1 more 3 to your game. You add 1 more 3, you hit 2 more free throws, you're at 27 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me a player with 27, 9, and 6, which is a realistic average for him this year. It's probably the upper end. But and if the Raptors are a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference, which I think, again, that's probably their upper end in terms of their potential, yeah, you could talk yourself into that mix. Like, you know, when people talk about Jason Tatum entering that mix, it's sort of the same sort of formula, right? It's ambitious, but why not set goals? I actually admire that about Pascal. I think people probably still have lingering doubts. That's fair. I don't think he like looks as visually smooth, let's say, as even a guy like Jason Tatum, but I think the effectiveness on the court shows up in the box score. And again, if they translate the wins, then that's how you get yourself in those combos.
He did tell me, even like last season going into it, coming off the shoulder surgery, that like I asked him, and this is when he was coming off that awful Tampa season, right?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, my mentality completely changed going into this season, right? This last year. And I was like, okay, what's changed? He's like, I'm setting goals now. I was like, okay. And then he said to me at one point, he's like, why can't I be an MVP? And I was like, Pascal. I'm like, this was again coming off a bad Tampa season, right? Mm-hmm. But since that conversation last year, how much growth we've seen in the second half of the season, especially in his game, to now it's like, you know, he's not that far off base, and putting himself in the top 5 position would put him in an MVP conversation. Totally.
Yeah, no, and I think you guys bring up a good point too when it comes to like talking about these individual players. I think David Thorpe said this yesterday too. I mean, he also said, he also suggested an OG and an OB for Terry Rozier trade,
man,
which you can discuss with Blake Murphy tomorrow.
We love Coach David Thorpe.
We love Coach Thorpe.
Everyone knows that. Yeah. I disagree with that take. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. Plus, it was like in the last minute of the show before you had to leave and push back.
Rozier is nice though. I like Rozier.
Yeah,
he'd be a nice trade candidate for a lot of teams, actually.
Yeah, shouts to MJ Brown. No, but David Thorpe was saying, like, when you talk about how Pascal and Scotty and these players can improve and where they can be, it's like so much of it is just dependent on the team being successful as well, right?
Yeah.
Like Pascal could put up the same numbers, but if the Raptors are a play-in team versus if they're a number 2 seed, it's a whole different conversation of how people talk about him.
Yeah, he's not LeBron. I mean, LeBron could put up 27, 8, and 9 or whatever.
ESPN put up a
be
graphic of LeBron
seed.
in all his different jerseys yesterday. I'm like, how many LeBrons are we covering this year?
But I thought it was a little bit, shouldn't be surprising, but I thought it was still a little bit rude that the Raptors didn't have a single highlight in that NBA opening night.
Oh, they weren't included?
They were not. A surprise.
Yeah.
Were not included again, which was actually pretty sick because they did a That's So Raven like throwback mashup when they mixed it with.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's so okay. I wasn't paying attention to see if the Raptors were.
I mean, I had to watch it back twice because like I was like, oh, this is catchy, and then like, wait, like, let me see this. Was there any Raptors highlights in this? I didn't catch
even
any.
on ESPN this year? Probably once against Kyle.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess we should know that, but if I had to guess, it'd be less than 5.
Yeah.
Over under.
10.
Yeah, under.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of excitement about Pascal and Scotty.
Yeah, of course. I mean, again, I think the thing is just like it's important for the team to win. I think if everyone stays healthy, they play defense at an elite level. Like I think the realistic goal for the Raptors should be top 5 defensively, and then slightly above league average offensively. Let's say like 11th or 12th. Guys stay healthy. Like this is a 50+ win team. And then after that, Pascal being what he does in terms of his importance to the team. and then Scotty making a jump and all the excitement about him, and also just his natural talent, man. Like he's so gifted. They'll get the rewards and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Savannah, before we let you run, we're in agreement. Raptors 50+ wins
Oh yeah.
this season.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
They got 48
All right.
last season.
Excited. We better win tonight then.
Yeah.
Start off
We
strong.
better see Pascal have another great performance. Remember last year, Pascal had a great performance against the Cavs at the end of the season. Remember, it was a must-win.
Yes, they were one back in the play-in, I believe.
And what did he do? 35 points, 12 of 20 shooting, 6 of 7 from 3.
Damn. That's what we need to see every night if it's a top 5 player.
Okay, all right.
Hey.
I'm
I just
saying.
need to see wins.
Raps by 40 tonight.
No, come on, man.
I said this last year before they played
Hey,
the Wizards
Okay.
opening night.
such a jinx, man.
And all I got was a Lupe Fiasco concert. Yeah.
Well, you got a Neo concert this year. Which,
Hey, we're up
So-
for the game. Up
Things
it.
are looking up. I want Missy Elliott at the Nick Nurse Foundation event
True.
next year.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention
Smart request.
Cardinello Fischel was there too.
Cardinal
Yes,
Fischel was there too.
Cardinal as
Played a
well.
nice set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
there we go.
fun fact: Neo has some Chinese lineage.
Yes.
That
Yes.
explains everything.
Yep.
Happy
Another-
Asian
Another
Heritage
secret
Month.
Blasian.
That
Yeah,
explains
I love
everything.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah, his dad is half.
Yeah. Well, Savannah.
dad.
Segue.
Where is
Derek,
that? Yo, where, Derek,
How
man?
deep is your bag?
Derek, send me a list of this, man. I need to know what's coming, man.
All
I'm
right.
set up right now. All right, Savannah, really appreciate you joining us in studio. Look forward to having you, obviously, join us throughout the season and seeing you at the arena and seeing you on Sportsnet on all the
Congratulations on
Raptors
everything.
broadcasts.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Hey.
Everything.
There you go.
Birthday month.
All right, it's a good spot for us to take a break. I'm your host, Will Lou. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, William Liu. I continue to be joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong in studio. And then we're also joined by Raptors play-by-play announcer Matt Devlin, a.k.a. the Vibes Coordinator of the Raptors Show. Alex put this in the rundown. Matt, are you happy to accept Vibes Coordinator?
I can go there. Whatever you guys decide is good. I know you already have an ambassador. I think
right.
I'm just, I don't know, vibes, or if it's just, I'm here to, possibly provide a little bit of sanity to your thoughts, late at night, when you start to go a little bit left when really it's one of 82. But I'm here for that as well. The vibes, to make sure that you make it through your second season, under the
That is my
umbrella
goal.
of the Raptors Show, because we know sometimes you just get,
Well, I mean, I think we might have to rebrand that. He could be like the Thad Young of the show. That's Thad Young's role on the bench. He's just like, look, listen, it's not about me.
Yeah.
I want Precious to just take good shots. All right, that's the only time I'm gonna pass to you, Precious, is when you got an opportunity to shoot. But I've been growing more appreciative of Thad over the years.
Well, he's a tremendous vet and pro.
Yeah,
and he is selfless. And you don't, and I think a lot of fans saw his video this summer that went viral.
Yep.
Talking to the AAU program that I believe he's a part of. That
Thad, yeah.
at the end of the day, he's right.
Yeah.
He puts in the work. He's 16 years in this league. That says so much about who he is, right, as an individual. And we talk at the beginning of, the training camp about the depth of this team. He's an integral piece to that. And unfortunately, you begin game one where some of the depth isn't there that you will need as the season kind of progresses. So he's a key part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that is maybe the other takeaway from preseason, because I think a lot of talk was the continuity, right? Like, you're bringing back the exact same top nine.
Huge.
But I think that the depth of the team, low-key, has gotten a lot better. I remember at times last season, I'm thinking specifically like January, Nick was going to a 7-man rotation. Like, it was like Chris is going to off the bench, Precious will come off the bench, and the starters will play 40 minutes, and we're going to have to get these wins against really tough teams, right? Miami, I think, was the standout game where they played 50-plus minutes, won in triple overtime. Incredible game.
Yeah.
I think they have more bench depth, and I think Thad was a big addition last year at the deadline. I think it's going to be even better for him this year. And then seeing guys like Delano step up a little bit as well. Otto, when he's healthy, brings that shooting. Do you see a deeper bench and maybe Nick being more willing to go to that second unit?
Well, I'm going to say this, that in theory, all of that sounds great.
Okay.
Right?
You hit me with the theory.
Yes.
I know how this
No, this is like
No,
this is
no,
like year-end review vibes.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. In theory, this is all great. When you go out and what do you want to do? You want to be a part of a team that has a little bit more depth, and Pascal play less minutes. And so, sorry for cutting out there.
That's all good.
Technical difficulties already, and I think you're doing that to me on purpose. Well, no, in theory, it's great, right? They're going to play less minutes, but until the ball goes up in the air, how do you know? And already Otto Porter is not starting the season healthy, so that's one, person that's not there. Hernan Gomez is another addition, right? And I think Nick mentioned this in the preseason, and I agree with him. In today's NBA, you need 10 deep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be a given moment within a game where you're going to ride the players that you trust. You have 7, you're going 7, and that is natural. Unnatural maybe in today's NBA, but when I started first in the league in 1999, that was certainly prevalent. The other piece to that is this, that you get to a certain point of the season when you say, okay, Pascal, you want to be all-NBA. Fred, you want to be an all-star. In order to accomplish those two things, what do we need to do?
Mm-hmm.
We need to win.
Yeah.
What gives us the best opportunity to win? Well, Raptor fans know more minutes for Fred, more minutes for Pascal. And so that's obviously out there. The big piece to me is this, going into this year. OG Anunoby, the most games that he's ever played is his rookie campaign, 74 games. You love OG. I love OG. We all love OG. OG, his growth has been tremendous. It's been tremendous year in and year out. They were 31-17 with him on the court last year in the 48 games in which he played. Can he play 65 to 70 games? And if he can play 70 games, but certainly within the framework of 65 to 70, that goes a long way. We saw the other night against Boston. Granted, it's preseason. Pascal wasn't on the court. We know that OG has that ability, right, to take that to the next level. By the way, against a very good Boston team, and I saw them twice, during the preseason, and for significant periods of time, as both of you know, they were playing their guys, right? So that kind of, to me, as we begin game one of what is an extremely difficult 7-game stretch here to begin the season, really important, right? Like, let's see what happens. Yes, Delano Banton. I mean, this is just year 2, and I really am impressed by him and what he was able to do. Canada basketball in the summertime helped. So I'm really excited to see all this unfold over the course of 82 games.
Okay, it's a great reminder. The reminders are very.
People don't know. Like Matt actually, Matt's obviously been so generous and so kind, supportive of the show. And when he's got time before games at the arena, like he will go up to Will during the season and give him that reminder.
He's like,
one of 82. That this is just one of 82.
So you see this watch right here? It says it's January 5th. It's the Indiana Pacers. And,
on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. Well, can you just maybe calm down if TJ McConnell has 1 steal in the backcourt?
I think
the answer is no.
No, I think Matt, you bring up a lot of good points, like with players like OG, Delano, and there's probably others we haven't mentioned, like an Otto Porter, and even Gary Trent Jr. I think that's why people are so excited about this team, because there are so many quote unquote like X factors and breakout candidates. And I know you talked about seeing them in preseason. I want to know too, what was it like? Obviously, you were traveling around to these different places across the country. We were watching on TV and just seeing the energy of the crowds. Like, what was that like? That experience like in the preseason for you?
Well, it was great to be back and do that. Right, the last time was Quebec City for preseason, and then the team went to Japan. So to be back out in the community. With respect, and when I say community, I mean, all of Canada, the basketball community is tremendous. Going to Victoria, sitting in, watching practices, and then heading to Edmonton where they sold out in 20 minutes. What a tremendous building.
Yeah. Okay.
Unbelievable setup. The hotel next door to Rogers Place is unbelievable. I mean, like it is a first-class setup. I would imagine there'll be other NBA games there. Just a great vibe. Can I tell you the amount of people that we spoke to, I met, that came from, all throughout, not only Alberta, but Saskatchewan and Manitoba to come see the Raptors. And then, Montreal is Montreal. It's always fun to be back there. That building sold out. They sold out again. I think it was like in short order, right? The crowd was in it. It's just, I love it. It's one of the things in the preseason that I really look forward to is finding out where the team is going to end up, having training camp and then where the game's played. And, whether it's Halifax or whether it's been Ottawa, right? Going to Montreal, going to Edmonton, Calgary years ago, Winnipeg years ago, it's in Vancouver, obviously a favorite. It's always great to see.
Yeah, no doubt. I think I don't know. This was slightly before my time as an NBA fan, but I was remembering the story about how there was supposed to be LeBron's preseason debut was supposed to be in like St. John's.
Yeah, the ice.
the Raptors.
It was too slippery, right?
The court
was too slippery.
Yeah.
That would have been wild. LeBron making his debut in Canada.
I mean, very first season of the Raptors.
Yeah.
They did their preseason. First ever game was in Halifax, and then they were around the country as well. So it's cool to see them.
You know a lot about it. Are you writing a book?
So it's cool. So it's cool to see them. That's why I'm only here twice a week. Just kidding, Sportsnet. No, but
it's a great book.
Wow, how do you have that?
What's going on, man?
How do you have that?
No, but I think it's really cool because going from like an expansion team to what we know about the Raptors and the popularity of them now, right?
Yeah.
Like the enthusiasm is honestly amazing. I know it gets talked about a lot, being Canada's team and all that, and people debate that. But I mean, seeing those crowds, just like that Montreal, I'm so glad they gave them an overtime game.
Yeah, it solidifies it. It goes, there's so many different, number one, go back to the GM survey. What did they say, right? Jack, myself, Alvin, we all say it all the time. People go, are you just saying it? I'm like, no, it's the best fan base in the NBA. And in part because we do represent a country, and that's what really makes it special as well as unique. And I go back to, 2019 when the Raptors, won the title and thinking about what am I going to say? And that's why I came up with Canada, the NBA title is yours, because it encompasses, everybody, all the basketball fans. The game continues to grow. 22 Canadians, right, begin, this NBA season. I'm going to count Chris Boucher, so that makes it 23.
They weren't counting Chris?
He's listed from St. Lucia.
Correct.
Yeah. Right,
with a connection to Canada. So I would put him in that. That's 23. So outside of the United States, Canada, that's going to continue to grow, as we all know. We know the women's game as well is growing. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, thinking about the game tonight, I think one of the popular subplots of last season was Scotty Barnes versus Evan Mobley. Obviously in the same rookie class, drafted back-to-back, third for Evan, fourth for Scotty. Do you see this as like an ongoing rivalry that can kind of go on for years, or do you sort of see that as like that was the rookie of the year race, but then we kind of move, past that? Because I kind of actually really enjoyed this debate last year.
Yeah, no, I think that it's something that will more than likely carry over if the teams continue to be. And I think what adds to it is that you had, and you mentioned earlier about the game, with the Pascal against Cleveland, you have a Cleveland Cavaliers team with high expectations, right? So, if these were two teams that weren't considered playoff caliber teams, then no. It's a subplot and you have that but what makes it really intriguing is that you have the Toronto Raptors that both of you are predicting are going to win more than 50 games, right? They won 48 last year. You have Cleveland, J.B. Bickerstaff, give him an immense amount of credit for getting this team back into, that playoff conversation, and certainly an organization that feels as though their time is now. Otherwise, you don't go out and get a deal done to bring in Donovan Mitchell. And then you just think about the Eastern Conference. And you think about how many nights there's going to be these tremendous subplots.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you go to Brooklyn and we got that. And then you go to Miami and exactly. And, that to me is probably going to be the number one story on Friday night. And then, clearly you go to Miami but there's so many great Eastern Conference teams. To me, it's extremely intriguing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's fun to always think back on that, because if that draft from last year is going to go down as one of the more like memorable drafts, right? When we think back to like 03 or like 84, is that the one?
84.
Why are you looking at me and I'm mad too?
Yeah, we're 20 when that happened. So anyway, but like if that's the case, like people think back on those little debates, right? Like who should have been where, whatever, and you think about it, it's like if the Raptors had the third pick, if they moved one more slot up, what would the Raptors have done with that pick? Would they still have gone Scotty? And honestly, if the Cavs could have had that pick back, would they go Scotty over Evan? But I think both teams are probably happy with what they got. I mean, clearly, they're both very talented players.
Right. And here's the other thing to me that is extremely important in all of that discussion. And that is this, that both of those players went to, and certainly more so Toronto, because the team that won 2019, and we know what the Tampa Raptors, we understand all the hurdles and obstacles that they went through. And as Masai Ujiri said, even when we're losing, we're winning, because you get Scotty Barnes. But you think about players that are lottery picks that go to organizations that don't have a great group around them. They don't have an established development model, all those sort of things, and it just kind of lingers. We know that Mobley, right, we understand where the Cleveland Cavaliers are right now. That's beneficial to him and his development. And certainly we all know that the Raptors have literally the best development, program in the NBA when you think about what they're able to produce and the growth that they always get internally.
Yeah, fair. I want to shift over to the game that we saw last night as well. I don't know how much of Sixers Celtics you were taking in, but I was watching that game pretty closely, and they both look pretty impressive for different reasons, right? You look at a Sixers team, James Harden could just step back for like 15 points on threes.
Mhm.
And on the other end, Tatum and Brown, I think, combined for 70 points.
Mhm.
So, I mean, how much gap do the Raptors need to make up to get to that level?
Well, it's going to be interesting over the course of the season to see Tatum and Brown. This is their 6th year of playing together.
Yep.
And they did something last night. I think it was the 3rd time, right, in the NBA that on opening night, 2 teammates, dropped 35 plus. But anyway, I think that they're there with them.
Okay.
All
right.
like I
like this.
We know that they have had success against Philly. We know that they've had success against Boston.
Yeah.
And I go back to the bubble, and that year the Raptors certainly, if they had gotten past Boston Game 7 or whatever, they could have moved on and maybe get back to the NBA Finals. Last year, while it surprised many.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It didn't surprise me that they made it to the first round, and they've added, some pieces as we already discussed. And I think that this is a team that, to your point, which you made earlier, from a defensive standpoint, right? Getting out, running, doing all the things that we know that is Raptors basketball. Like, I wouldn't necessarily be worried about who's getting the backup point guard minutes and all that, because we've talked about now for a long time about getting defensive rebounds and everybody, running out on the break, and that they're not trying to play in the half-court game. And teams try to get him into the half-court game. What I would look at is what I would describe as a pressure release. Like, they need every now and again a pressure release, and that is you have battle back, and more than likely on the second unit. So let's see Gary Trent Jr., is he running with that group more? Let's see how that group kind of plays itself out. That pressure release is that we understand that the Raptors are going to get multiple stops, as let's say they're trying to build their way back into a game. But can you knock down that 3 that just kind of goes, yeah, man, I'm going to keep on playing some D here.
Mm-hmm.
You come down, you could get a 2, whatever, but that 3 ball, as we all know, and they were middle of the pack 3 ball.
Yeah.
And so if there's some improvement there, to me, it just goes, a long, long way. Again, I think that there's 6 teams in the East, and we could sit here for hours, which I'd love to do, just debating each one of those teams. But I know we don't have that time.
Well, you know what?
But maybe later.
Yeah, we'll do that at the arena when I see you in a few hours. But
Yeah.
Matt, thank you for your time. Thank you as always
That's
for
great.
joining us. Your wisdom. I'm not going to promise to not overreact tonight, unfortunately.
Yes,
but,
you will. You will. You are
okay.
going to overreact. I know this. I just want you to
Yeah.
know this, okay?
Yeah.
Right? One of the keys to greatness is what?
Consistency.
Consistency,
Oh, wow.
right?
All right.
Consistency, just game in and game out. And one of the things that the Raptors are always really, what are they? They're consistent, right? They're consistent in their effort, and that gives them an opportunity to win.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's
Amazing
that's
advice.
pure wisdom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I gotta hit you up for that. You gotta do the 3 from Pacific Mall call this year.
Well, we're going to
Yes.
get that
Keep
in.
pressuring
We're going to
him,
get that. You know, you
Pacific
got
Mall's within the
He's like,
city,
this is,
you know.
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
this is just one of 82. Please stop texting me.
That's
before
like
the
a
game.
corner 3, man.
Oh,
A
man.
bus goes to Pacific Mall.
I
TPC.
already look at. I'm looking down at the text right now, and yes, it says please shout out. It said,
Pacific.
all the way. It's good.
Appreciate you, Matt Devlin.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
We'll
There
see
we
you
go.
soon.
All right, take care, guys.
Awesome.
All right, Alex. To wrap the show, we got to introduce a new segment. As the producer, I'm going to lean hard on you on this one.
Oh my God. Yeah. So on Raptors game nights this season, we have a new segment called Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game.
Mhm.
So during the season, we're going to look at, certain specific bets, maybe Raptors related or just generally NBA related. I know you don't really know how to gamble,
I'm a novice,
and
but you're experienced.
yeah,
so this is good.
we've talked about my dark days in my early 20s, many trips. to the casino and things like that. But yes,
Great trips though.
So I'm gonna maybe we'll start off by me suggesting some bets for you during the season to start the season.
Let's do it. Yeah.
And then maybe once you find your footing, and your credit, then you can get in on the action as well.
Very generous with the credits.
Yeah, it's a whole new game.
It's a whole new game.
So Matt Devlin was talking to us about where he sees the Raptors stacking up in the Eastern Conference, right? So I was looking on Bet Rivers, and the Raptors are plus 1,000 to win the Atlantic Division. But
so
this would require
you bet $100, you got $1,000 back. Is that how that works?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I bet 50 already.
Okay.
Anyways, so this would require them to finish with a better regular season record than Philadelphia, Boston, and Brooklyn. And I guess we'll throw New York in there.
Yeah, come on, man. New York's in there.
And the New York Knicks. You know, RJ Barrett's New York Knicks. Give me the scenario.
The Nine God. I was made aware. His nickname is the Nine
RJ
God.
Barrett's new name is the Nine God now.
Yeah.
He really turned the six upside down.
Apparently.
But yes, give me the scenario on how the Raptors can actually win the Atlantic Division this season.
They take care of business against under 500 teams. Last year, I think there were only like 6 games over 500 against under 500 teams. Usually, there have been seasons in front of the program. Vivek Jacob brought this up last season, but there were times last season or in previous years where the Raptors would go like 35-5 against under 500 teams. So can you get better at taking care of business on nights where you're not fully all the way there in terms of motivation? You know, it's like the Indiana Pacers are in town, the Charlotte Hornets are in town, the Detroit Pistons are in town. Please, can we take care of the Pistons? I think you do all that stuff. The Raptors already had a very competitive record against all the top teams last year. And Nick brings it up all the time, and I think he's right to. It's about taking care of business against some of the lower tier opposition. Because look, listen, it's not a lot of tanking teams this year. So you make sure you got to help them get Victor Wembanyama, and you got to help the Raptors get to the first seed in the Atlantic. So
yeah, and I think
that's a good bet.
And I think how Draymond has that famous saying about although this is not what he will be remembered for now. But he had the famous saying of like 82 game players and like 16 game players, right? Like separating the regular season and the postseason. And for me, I'm looking at the Raptors as an 82 game team.
Yeah, right.
Versus the discussion of a 16 game team in the playoffs is a whole separate discussion.
Okay.
So.
All right, let's
anyways,
do it.
that was Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game. Everybody enjoy opening night.
Yeah.
Tonight, Blake Murphy, Thursday, tomorrow, and then I'll be back on Friday with Jay Skeets as well. That's it.
It's a great lineup. Great week to be back. And let's go Raptors tonight. I'm trying to find the outro, and that does it for us today. I'm your host, Will Liu, and you were listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game. Make sure you find The Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and please rate and review our show. A reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Thanks again to Savanna Hamilton and to Matt Devlin for joining us in studio. Thanks to board producer Derek Brandale and Jennifer Rolnick for helping us with the YouTube stream. I'll talk to you tomorrow.